Today, we are going to talk about manifestors. Now, this question was asked by somebody of another human design type, and I'll read you the question in a moment. But basically, this video is going to be helpful for you if you are a manifestor who is quite new to human design and you're just still trying to understand some of the processes and teachings and the correct flow, the correct way for you to move through life so that you can have the impact that you want, that you can birth the ideas and then the new things that are here to come through you. And it's also going to be helpful if you are another human design type who is trying to understand a manifestor. So whether it's your spouse, your child, your business partner, your best friend, or you're somebody who serves human clients with human design and you don't understand the manifestor process very well and you want to understand manifestors better. So if we haven't met before, I'm Carolyn Southwell. I'm a 2/4 emotional projector. Thank you to my manifestor who has told me in the comments that he can see and hear me. That's fabulous. Thank you so much. So manifestors. I want you to know, before we dive into this very deeply, that there might be a lot of human design teachers online who will speak with authority on something where they haven't got personal lived experience. And so I always like to call out where my understanding of something has come from. So as a projector, I don't have a lived experience of what the manifestor process feels like. Where I draw my knowledge and understanding from is two places. The theory that I have learnt over many, many years, 11 and a half years at this point of studying human design, and many, many, many years of serving manifestor clients, looking at my family members, and the last 6.5 years of living with my manifestor partner. So there is lots of theory and there's lots of observation. So that's where this answer is coming from. If you are a manifestor who's been playing with human design for any length of time, hopefully at this point you will have a sense of what your own urge feels like and then how to follow that urge correctly using your strategy to support you and honoring your inner authority. So with that said, and I call that out because there are so many human design teachers who teach like they can possibly know what every configuration feels like, and we can't. A person can only speak from their own experience of what they have experienced internally, as well as what they've mentally learnt and observed in others. Okay, so the question was asked on Manifestor with projected gates and channels. So that was where this question was asked. If you want to watch that video, I will add it in the after this video has gone live, and I'm able to add in some extra helpful resources after the fact. And the question that was asked, I'm just looking down at where I have it here. How would you explain the urge experienced by a manifestor? Is it the same as having an idea to do something? So there are a lot of times in human design where we can learn that something is only for a group of people. And what I have found after so much time of experimenting with human design, that there are certain things that all of us experience, but we're supposed to do something different with that experience. So let's look at what an urge is and then how it plays out differently for a manifestor as opposed to the other types. So my experience of an urge, and if you don't know the proper definition of this, you can look it up, especially if English isn't your first language or you're just new to the word urge. But the way I experience an urge is a feeling that rises inside of me that makes me want to move, the urge to move, the urge to do. Now, for a person who is a manifestor, understanding the urge is vitally important because manifestors are designed to initiate. That is, you as a manifestor are here to start something, to take an action without waiting for something to respond to, like the generators and manifesting generators, without waiting for an invitation, like us projectors, and without waiting for a whole lunar cycle, like the reflectors. Okay? So understanding the urge as a manifestor is so much more important than it is for all of us, because sometimes your urge is the only thing that tells you that it's the right time to initiate. It's the right time for you to take action or to create or to build or to do or whatever the thing is, to say the thing, your urge to say the thing without any external prompting, right? There's so much internal prompting when you're a manifestor. So you could have an urge. The person asked a question. The person asking was a projector who was trying to understand manifestors. So your urge could come from an idea. That was what the person had said. Is the urge the same as an idea? An idea might spark the urge to move or create or do, but it might also be an intuitive hit that is the spark that creates that urge, right? Each manifestor is going to be a little or a lot different depending on your human design configuration. You can have a manifestor who only has 2 centers defined, and you can have one who has all the way through to 8 centers defined, right? I have seen manifestors with all of these different configurations, right? So, and you could be a manifestor who has a lot of logical energy or a lot of abstract energy. You could be somebody who is a very tribal manifestor, or you could be a highly mutative individual manifestor like my partner is, right? So there are so many different ways that manifestors can be built. And unless you are a manifestor with a twin who was born within like just minutes of you, you are probably going to be a little or a lot different to the next 100 manifestors that you meet, if you happen to meet that many in your lifetime, because you guys are around 10% of the population. So there's not heaps of you. And certainly with all the billions of people on the planet, not everyone knows about human design yet. And they might not ever, right? So the way that what sparks your urge as a manifestor might be different to what sparks the urge of the next 100 manifestors that you meet. So it's really important to just notice, if you're a manifestor, one, what does that feeling of the urge feel like for you? And what is it that sparked it for you? Was it an idea, right? Was it something that, ideas are all up in here. They're things that are going to happen in the head or the ajna, whether or not they're defined for you, but there might be defined gates, even if the centers aren't defined. So you might have a lot of ideas from up in here at the mental level, right? You might have a lot of definition down in your spleen, right? I'm like rubbing down where my spleen would be, right? So you might have these intuitive hits from the spleen that tell you, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to move this way, I need to leave this, right? You might have an emotional sense of something, an emotional feeling of something that could come from your solar plexus. Again, it could come from a defined solar plexus or just defined gates hanging off the solar plexus. There are any number of different sources for those sparks that could create the urge to move or do or create. So the difference between the urge and the idea, hopefully at this point, is obvious. If you want further clarification, you can ask in a comment here. But hopefully that has answered the question. Now, if you are somebody who would like to understand the manifestor process better, whether you yourself are a manifestor or you're hoping to understand manifestors better, I've put a link in the video description for a video course I made for beginners who want to understand the manifestor better. And otherwise, like on all of my videos, you are welcome to ask a question in the comment if you have a question further about manifestors or anything else about human design where I can answer it in a video format. It doesn't require me to look at your chart individually. Obviously, individual chart readings is something that, in coaching, is something I can do within coaching sessions. But I am happy to field questions that you feel like I don't need to see your human design chart and I can answer in a video like this. And I hope you will.